Welcome to another video on the HT Instruments Neptune installation multimeter. With this set of tests I'm actually going to look at the current measurement capabilities of the instrument. You can see the instrument the package that I got comes with this Rogowski coil here. It was a 300 amp and 3000 amp range settings on it, and obviously with it being Rogowski it's only going to measure AC, there's no DC capability. This plugs into the instrument itself, and over on this side, on that function there, we actually have the ability to measure the millivolts output of the coil and convert it to an amperage. So you can see it's set for 3000 amps, and that matches the range setting on the coil. So the actual test setup I've got is current clamp table here is plugged into the injection test set at the back, and then I'm operating the injection test set through the software program here, and I'll be able to set this up to current I can get out of this. So we'll say 5 amps, and that'll be a 50 turn coil on this center one here, so I will get 250 amps out being measured by the instrument. Maximum I'll be able to go up to will be 1500 amps with this, which is half the range of the instrument. Do have a 3000 amp coil, but it's physically too big for this specific Rogowski coil, so I can't test up to 3000 amps, only 1500. So we'll pop him in through there, easy enough to set up. So we'll position him relatively centrally, and then I'll zoom into the display on the instrument so you can see how that is set up. Okay, so the first setting that you have for the instrument is very rarely used. You'll use it if you use a different current clamp adapter to one supplied by HT Instruments. If you hold the mode and max key in and switch the instrument on, it changes you to this setting, and what this setting does is it allows you to change the full scale range of the instrument to match that of the current clamp adapter you are using. You can see here it's currently set to 3 volts. That matches any current clamp from HT Instruments. You can set it down to 1 volt to match something like a Fluke. Some of the Fluke ones will operate to that, or there may be other manufacturers that will also operate to that full scale range. So we'll leave it on 3 volts because it's HT Neptune's one we've got. Hit the go button, and to be honest you very rarely need to change that, hence why it's a little bit more difficult to get to than the other settings. So I'll just knock him off again. We'll go straight to the current clamp setting, and every time you go to this current clamp measurement it will come back with this specific setup screen. I'll switch the light on so it's a bit easier. So the first one that you can see here is on 300 amp. If I hit again it's 30 amp, 3000 amp, and so on. So that matches the scales from the HT Neptune device. The other setting is just down here below there, and you can see it's got a picture that more resembles a Rogowski coil. If I hit the mode button it goes to a Hall effect clamp, and my actual range settings change. I've got 10 amp, 1 amp, 3000 out, 2000, so you've got a different set of ranges there when you're on this AC-DC clamp as opposed to when you're on the Rogowski coil there. So that's set up for the measurements that I'm going to do. So I just hit the go button, and now we're all set, ready to take the measurements. So I need to ensure that the clamp is turned on there, and we'll inject 5 amps, and that should give me around about 250 amps, just 251 amps, which is pretty good, isn't it? So we're set to 252 amps. What I'll just do is move the coil around and see if it affects the readings much. So I'll push it all the way up to the clamp there. You can see it's actually dropped to 241 amps. We'll move him all the way back. 253 amps, so not much, yeah. So position of the coil is affecting the readings. It's difficult for me to get side-by-side motion on this because it's just too big. You see there, so we'll just have to stick to the top and bottom. But there is a fair bit of variation in there. So you can see I've just repositioned the coil here so that we've got 250 amps on there, and we'll just zoom in again, and we'll just take them up through some of the ranges again and just see how close we are this time. 10 amps, that's smack on 500. 15, 750, 20, should be 1000, we've got 1001, 25, should be 1250, and we've got 1251, and the final one, 30, should be 1500, and we've got 1501, 1502. As with the voltage measurements, we also have harmonics available. So first button of that, so it gives me total harmonic distortion, and then HDC, which was actually 0 for this, is because it's coming off this injection test set. We've got DC as 0, and we've got 100% on harmonic 1, which will be the 50 Hertz, and all the others will be blank. As with up to him on 100%, if I press the button again, I can now get that in an amperage reading instead of the percent reading. So 252 matches the main 250 amps being injected, and likewise if I hold it in, it will then reorder my harmonics to give the most. So there's harmonic 1 is the highest with 252 amps, and everything else is 0. All the other harmonics you see being up there just at 0. Hit the mode button again, and that takes me back out of that and returns me to the amperage reading. Okay, so that's all those there. I'll stick a table up of the results and we'll see what it looks like. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you found it useful and interesting, and I'll see you again in another video.